Hey guys, welcome to Friday, the last day of the second week of the SEHS Algebra Enrichment Program. It's been a great week so far. We've got a lot of people participating throughout the week. I get a lot of guys that, even though you weren't able to make the Tuesday or Thursday Google meetings, guys watching those recordings and sending me a lot of stuff as well, which has been great. Just so that you guys know, the biggest question that I've had is, when is the project due? If you can get it to me today or at some point over the weekend, that would be great. I'm just going to compile them all, stuff that I get over the next few days, and then just send them out to you guys. And the more that they come in, I'll just keep sending those out so you guys can see what everyone else is doing within their projects, the things that I mentioned yesterday and a little bit on Wednesday as well. But I'm going to kind of go through it, give you a couple more ideas, even add a couple things on it to make you think a little bit further, thinking about systems of equations in the real world, and then I'll kind of wrap up for the week. So looking at the graph that we kind of started on Wednesday, looking at the lemonade stand and looking at the different points, what's the break-even point, what's the value that they intersect, being able to find that on a graph on Desmos is something that we went through yesterday a lot. We went through it Wednesday, and I feel like you guys are doing a really good job with that. A lot of you guys are sending me a lot of your Desmos graphs and understanding it, labeling the different points, showing what they're meaning, which is really good. The biggest thing that we're looking at this week is, can you analyze a graph? Can you look at this and look at the question, look at your graphs, and kind of go further into it? Rather than just asking the question of how many cups do I have to sell to break even or start turning a profit, kind of understanding more into the graph. What do the slopes mean? What do the intercepts mean? And being able to take something like this graph and kind of write a whole paper on it and kind of understand the different meanings of it. There's a whole bunch of different things, and I'm going to show you in just a second how I kind of went about doing that. And going a little bit further into it, kind of thinking, what's the next level? What's more of an exploration that I can kind of do with different graphs like this? So I just kind of give a brief, because I did it really briefly yesterday, but a way that you can actually go through and put this on on a Microsoft Word or Google Doc is go through, and if you hit this share button up here, you could share the graph, and that just sends me this graph. I can see everything that you did. If you want to type everything on the side, that's completely fine. I'll go through and look at that. Just make sure, if you want to type things, if you hit this add button, you hit the note button, because then you can type a bunch without worrying about it being a mathematical equation. If you want to add images, if you want to add tables or just different expressions, you can go through and do it that way. But another thing that I'm going to use is this export image button. If you click on the export image, it just takes the graph of everything that you have. If you want to put the coordinate, label the coordinate, different things like that, you can go through and do that. But more specifically, when you export it, you save it on your computer, and then you can copy it and paste it and put it on a Google Doc. Okay, so just looking at a Google Doc here, let me just zoom in a little bit for you. Okay, looking at a Google Doc, what you can do is look at kind of creating your own paper or just asking yourself a bunch of questions and figuring out, what can you do with this graph? So I took the graph and I copied it and pasted it onto here, and I'm asking myself a bunch of questions. Well, here's my problem. Here are the equations I got. So I labeled the equations. I have a cost equation, I have a revenue equation, and when I put those on the graph, it looks like this. There's my break-even point. I can easily see my y-intercepts and my slope and everything like that, my images that are on there. I can find and label things like the intersection, and then asking and kind of figuring out a bunch of different things. You can find the meaning of the intersection, what does that mean? Different profits that you had, the meaning of the slope of the first line, meaning of the slope of the second line, looking at the y-intercepts, and just kind of asking and answering a bunch of questions. What happens to the right of the intersection, to the left? So if you look at the graph, what do these values mean? What do these values mean? If it's to the left, when do you start making money? When do you start losing money? So there's a whole bunch of different questions that I kind of came up with and said, all right, well, ideas for different topics that you can analyze, and I'll send this out to you guys in the email, is, you could either use all of these, or you could even think a little bit further, the intersection, break-even point, slopes, y-intercepts, and meanings of each graph, and kind of understanding them a little bit further. And that's kind of what I want you guys to do. I want to see who can really go further into this and maybe have 10 or 15 different things that you're taking just from this easy graph that you guys just created one small equation with, but understanding a little bit further so that if you look at it, you can answer these different types of questions of, what are the different values? Sorry, let me scroll down here a little bit. what happens if you need to spend more money to build up your business? Does that change your cost equation or revenue equation? What happens if you decide to sell your product for more? How does that change those different equations? And really understanding that will really help you with solving these different equations and understanding what the graph is actually giving you. Because if you can go through and do that and understand more things about your question rather than just what's being asked, you can be asked anything, and I feel like you guys will be pretty good with that. So think of more ways, what happens if you have more than one product? I mean, that's really taking it to the next level. I know that a couple guys that we talked about on Tuesday who had sent in a couple problems went the step further and looked at, well, what if there's a children's ticket, adult ticket, and a senior ticket? How does that change the different things? Or what if I wasn't only selling lemonade? What if I was selling crackers with it too, or cookies, or desserts, or something like that? How does that change looking at what I can sell and what I can do? So that's kind of what I'm leaving up to you guys and what I want you to do for your project. I want you to submit something similar to this page, and I'll send this out to you guys. You should have it from yesterday as well, so you can kind of see what your project should look like, and you can label a lot of things. You can go through and explain the meanings of everything, and it should be pretty quick. If you ask a question, and most of you guys were able to answer a lot of it yesterday, I kind of just put down a lot of those answers that you guys were putting as to what the graphs meant. And you can go from there and just ask questions, answer questions, and create your project that way. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Once you create this Google Doc, you can share it with me. Okay? Or if you did it on a Microsoft Word, you can send it to me via email. So you can just kind of reply to the email that I just sent you, and you can go through and finish that. But other than that, I hope you guys had a great week. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm more than willing to help you guys out if you need it, not only with stuff that we're doing this week, but anything you guys are doing in your math class. I'm happy to help out in any way possible. I hope you guys all have a great Thanksgiving. I know some of you guys are off all next week. St. Ed's is off all next week as well, but some of you guys are going into school Monday and Tuesday. So hopefully some of the stuff that we're doing here helps you guys out in your class. But I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you have a great Christmas. I don't see you until next year, 2022. But by then, if you have any questions on anything, let me know. And other than that, go Eagles and have a great day.